Hi everyone, I am Shadow Witch and welcome to my new YouTube channel. And today is the very first episode of my longer show called Pulling Aside the Veil. And that incredible music was written for our show and written by a good friend of mine, Jack Riley Neve. They are an amazing musician and songwriter, and you can find them on Spotify, Bandcamp, located in Brooklyn, New York. Yay, yay, yay. So check them out. Super, super amazing. Love everything about them. So thank you again, Jack Riley Neve. And thank you to my crew, Michelle, who is helping me film and edit and do all kinds of awesome things. So I really appreciate the help. Now, for those that might be wondering about the show, we do have our short 5-10 minute videos we've been trying to put out a few times a week on this channel. I hope you've checked those out. And this is going to be a little bit longer, about maybe a half hour to 45 minutes, depending on what we want to cover that day. And pulling aside the veil is a term I wanted to apply to this, and it goes back fairly a while back in history, and it is attributed to Crowley, who called it Leviter Veslis, and it was in reference to the first version of the Charge of the Goddess. And but regardless of how it was referenced at that time, I am using it to reference this show in what we do as witches, witchcraft, our practice, answering questions, and pulling aside the veil of illusion, deception, theatrics, all those out there that want to use just a lot of nonsense to impress their friends or impress the non-initiated, that we are something that we're not. There's some people that just, honest to goodness, really thinks that we have abilities that we don't. But we do have skills and talent and experience that with proper training can seem quite magical. And we're going to go over all of that, not only in my short videos, but in these longer segments too. If you like anything about what you've seen so far, please take a moment to like and subscribe and share. I really appreciate it because it really does help us. So now we're going to discuss a question that was posed in one of my shorter videos a week or so ago. And a parent, I'm not sure female or male, so mom or dad, asked a question, and I will paraphrase it. Can you give me a protection spell for my adult child? Well, that's kind of tricky. And I think I know what mom or dad is asking. Now, if that adult child came to you and said, Mom, Dad, I know you kind of dabble in magic, witchcraft. I really think I need some help in this situation. I really don't know what to do. Can you come up with something for me? That's one thing. I'm getting a feeling that's not what you're asking. Of course, we don't do spells for other people. Why? It's not going to work. There's a whole science behind what we do. What we do is a science. You can pray for people. We can wish the best for people. We can send good energies out to people. But when it comes to magic, it's a very specific scientific practice that we do and need. And there's a tie between you and the magic you do. What we send out comes back to us. So I can put together all the components of a spell for you. I tend to use cooking as an analogy, comparison. for magic for a lot of people that are not really advanced or masters in the world of magic. Because everyone eats, everybody, you know, dabbles with cooking a little bit, even if you're just, you know, boiling water for pasta. You can understand the concept of food and needing to eat. So it makes the concept of, you know, working with magic a little easier when I say, I can give you all of the ingredients and the recipe to make the cake, but I can't make that cake for you. Okay? In magic, it's not going to come out the way you want it to. You must make that cake for yourself. Now, in the world of cooking, yes, you can go to a bakery and buy a cake that's already made, but in the world of magic, you can't. You must make it yourself. And that's I can get into the details and the science of that at another time. But right now, mom or dad, if it's a matter that your adult child is doing something dangerous or something risky or something that you don't approve of, well, there are spells that you can do for you to kind of separate you a little bit from allowing it to upset you so much, or to give you more protection against being harmed or hurt by whatever you think, you know, might be happening. Allow you to sleep better if you're not able to sleep because you're worried so much. But sadly, adult children are going to do what adult children have done for centuries, millennia. They're going to make their parents worry. They're going to stress you out. That's kind of their job. So you can say prayers for them, and you can wish them well. If you want to give a protective charm or make a protective pouch for them and tell them what it is for, and they take it, you know, fully aware of what it is, then by all means you can do that. But we can't do spells for people behind their backs. So with that, armed with that information, you can take that and do as you will. And I wish you well. So now we're going to get on to the meat of our show, and that is discussing Imbolc. Imbolc is our first spring ritual. It comes up February 1st. Now, many people, pagans alike, feel that Imbolc is February 2nd because it says so on so many Wheel of the Year printouts. Unfortunately, no. That is a Christianized holiday that was, when it was changed from the original February 1st, back in the 600s CE by Pope Gregory, when he was unifying the Catholic Church throughout Europe. He was changing the pagan holidays around Europe to kind of fit into his new Christianized calendar. For instance, Yule became Christ's Mass. Lughnasadh became Loaf Mass. Samhain became All Hallows Eve, All Hallows Day, All Souls Day, and Ostara became Easter. Well, Imbolc, February 1st, they shifted just a little bit to February 2nd, and that became Candle Mass. And it has been Candle Mass on February 2nd ever since in the Christian Church. Now, Imbolc, which can be found, I was looking up the Gaelic origin. I had thought it was Irish Gaelic, but it's also Irish, Scottish Gaelic, and Manx Gaelic. So it's very common in that whole part of Western Europe. It stands for, it's Gaelic for in the belly, and this is a time when in that part of Western Europe, it's a little bit warmer, just a few weeks ahead of where we are here in New England, and it is the beginning of spring. There lambs and goats and cattle are out in the fields giving birth. And so in the belly references the, you know, farm animals and the wild animals giving birth to their little, you know, babies, running around in the fields, the greening of the fields. And for those that look outside, because right now we have a lot of snow out there, we're expecting more snow today, quite a few inches, you can still look for the signs come February 1st. Even here in New England, you'll see the cracking of the ice in the ponds and on the lakes. The water starts rushing a little bit faster. The sap in the maple trees that they make maple syrup from is being tapped. This is when the maple sugar growers, or harvesters, I guess that's what you call somebody that makes maple syrup. They're tapping the trees to harvest the sap. The geese, I always look for February 1st. I'm always looking up on February 1st because I am looking for Canada geese to be flying home from their southern, you know, winter vacation homes. And I usually see them around the 1st of February. So, yes, spring is coming. It doesn't necessarily feel like it when we're getting our last blast of winter, but spring is on its way. And we can start looking forward to longer days and brighter days. So, now what we do come Imbolc, it's our festival of lights, our festival of flames. And what is common to do at this time is I would take my bowline, which is my working knife that is often used to cut herbs or to carve perhaps wands or carve candles. Well, we use it to clean out the wax and the old candles from our candle holders. And these can be used in many different ways. You can melt these down into a nice vat of wax and use them for other projects. I'm not going to use them for other candles. I'll be using them for other projects that I use wax for. And then I will be replacing all of my ritual room. We're in the ritual room right now. I'll be replacing all of my ritual room candles, my watchtower candles, my altar candles, my illuminator candles with brand new candles on Imbolc. It starts off every year. Now, even something this big, I mean, it's been burning, I mean, for every single Sabbath and all of our rituals in between, and it really hasn't burnt down. So I got a lot of use out of this, but it's still got a lot of wax in here. So I will melt that down and I'll be making something else out of that. You don't have to do that if you're not crafty. You can throw them away if you want. So I'll give you a moment to gasp. What? You throw them away? Oh. Yes. I've seen a lot of people, all right, I'm going to say it. They give a lot of extra, I don't know what you want to call it. They give a lot of extra energy or something special to basic working tools of our craft. Now, I'm not going to, you know, like my athame is something very special to me. I have a very special sheath. I only use it in ritual. It has a really, you know, special history for me. But I've had altars in the past. We had a great one back in the 80s that was a pool table. I had a lot of friends back in the 80s. I mean, boy, it was great. We'd have, you know, gatherings of 15, 20 people. Everybody put stuff on the pool table. It was at night, and we have overhead lights, and it was really cool and really amazing. And now, where's that pool table? I have no idea. I think we handed it off to someone, and it could be in the landfill for all I know. I mean, it was just a work surface there are cathedrals and there are churches and there are these places that they give the altar itself, and rightfully so. In some religions, the altar itself has great significance. In the Jewish tradition, such as in Solomon's temple, I have read that the altar itself was extremely significant for various reasons that I'm not 100%, well read on. But that does not, one religion's concepts do not necessarily translate over onto another's, and that's where we run into a lot of problems in our practice. People will come into the Wiccan practice who want to practice witchcraft, and that's great, but they will inevitably have left a practice that does not work for them. They'll leave a Christian practice, or they'll leave another practice. It didn't work for me, I don't like it, I'm not happy with it. They'll come here, but they want to bring the same baggage with them. It's really important that you pay attention to that. In our world, an altar is just simply a work surface. It can be your kitchen table. It can be a counter. It can be a stone, a flat stone in the field or in the woods. There's no special significance. It's what you do on it. Having said that, since we've got some time and this is our first pulling aside the veil discussion, there is a concept out there I've read. I'm talking to Michelle now because she's my audience, that I think a lot of people have. I'm also talking to you guys, but a lot of people, I think, have come across, if you've been watching a lot of the witchy websites or the pages or maybe the, different social medias. And you see it every now and then, I had a first teacher, quote unquote, that when I joined the class, they told me all the tools are irrelevant. They mean nothing. Or another person, I took a class and they passed a wand around and everybody looked at the wand, ooh, ah, and then the teacher took it and snapped it in half and threw it aside. And all the magic is within you. And it's like, ah, okay. I have no idea what that is, except what? Okay. If that was the case, I would have gotten up and said, give me my money back, I'm out of here, and I would have left. Magic is in you within. But you know what? No, it was probably an 8 or a 12-week course or something, and they probably paid good money for it. If that was the case, then why continue? Yes, the magic is within you. It's like, yes, I have living, I'm a living biological creature, and I am alive, but I also need food to live. The magic is within us, but we need tools with which to wield the magic. Because if not, then fine, manifest what you want just like that. Go ahead. I'll wait. Michelle and I are waiting. We use tools because that's how we create the magic we want to manifest. We use tools. We cast the circle. We use the salted water for various reasons, and it has scientific principles. We use the incense for various reasons. We direct energy. Now, if you choose to do a different type of magic, that's fine, but magic uses tools as opposed to some schools of thought that just use prayer. Well, a lot of people are praying every day in this world, and just look outside and see where we are. It's not really very effective. The witch uses tools and scientific principles and scientific concepts because it works. And the concept that we need none of it. It's all within. Yes, the magic is within, because that's kind of what got you to first step on the path, inquiring. But if the magic was within and you needed nothing, even the ancient witch was out foraging in the woods for various herbs and for various mushrooms and various things to use in her practice. And she would have her cauldron to cook up various potions and what she needed. And maybe she didn't have 5,000 books. It was unnecessary. I don't read any of the magical books out there. They look cool on a shelf, but they're not necessary for me. But to say you don't need any of it, okay, you can just sit there, you know, in a cell and just think about it. It's not going to get you out of the cell. It's not going to get you doing anything. And if it does, let me know. I would like to be the first one to know. We use tools because it gives us form and function, and we're able to start putting the building blocks together to create the magic we wish to manifest. And that's how it works. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to talk about today. With Imbolc, look for signs that spring is here. Change out your ritual candles. That's important. The reason we use candles, getting back to what I was just talking about, we use candles not because they're pretty, not because they give us ambiance. We use candles because the vibrational energy, the vibrational level, the Hertz vibration that they put out changes the energy, the vibrations in the room that you're doing your magic in. And it makes a huge difference. If you light the candles in a room and wait a half an hour, the energy, you will feel a difference in that room than if you were to use LED lit candles, or if you just turned on electric lights. Even those electric lights that look like they're flickering, they don't have the same feeling. And those that are sensitive, and most magical people have this heightened sensitivity, you can feel that it doesn't feel the same. So things like candles, things like incense, all the pieces that we put together, again, you are building the blocks that will eventually have you manifest your magic. So start with Imbolc. If you don't have a circle yet, start by gathering candles. They're very inexpensive. Try to go with paraffin if you can. It's going to last longer. It burns better. If you are worried about drippy candles, pop them in the freezer for at least 8 to 10 hours. Overnight's the best. And your watchtower candles are, write this down, green for the north, yellow for the east. Now green for the north, it's the elements of earth. We use yellow for the east, elements of air, red for the south, element of fire, blue for the west, element of water. Then if you would like candles on the altar, I prefer a red, white, and a black, 3 separate candles on my altar. The white is for the maiden, the red is for the mother, the black is for the crone. But if you just want a white candle for the god and a black candle for the goddess, that's fine. You choose your altar candles the way you want. Some people will have just a couple statues of the god and the goddess and then have big illuminator candles. You choose what you would like best for your altar, probably depending on the space available, and then of course if you can burn safely. But brand new candles for Imbolc is the best way to start. So thank you very much. This is our first pulling aside the veil, and I certainly hope that you enjoyed this. We're going to finish off with some of the music. If you have any questions or would like to see me address any rumors or concepts in the world of witchcraft, I would be happy to do that. I've been studying this and practicing for over 40 years now, and the ancient history right up until modern day is my specialty. So please like, subscribe, share, And thank you for visiting my circle. I'm Shadow Witch, and have a great rest of your day. Blessed be.